Ramadan, Ramadan is the month of blessings and forgiveness. Ramadan is the month of blessings and forgiveness. Ramadan.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome back to an episode of the series, The Virtues of Ramadan. Let's start our episode by listening to an excellence of reciting durood upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam. The Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam has stated, "Indeed, he who recites durood upon me the most will be the closest to me on the day of judgment." Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. Let's recite durood upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam together. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, our topic for today is the respect of Ramadan. Before starting our topic, let's listen to the significance of small deeds first. Allah Azza wa Jal wants to forgive. He Azza wa Jal does so even for the smallest of virtuous deeds. There are many narrations in this regard. For example, a woman was forgiven just because she gave water to a thirsty dog. Another hadith of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam says that a man removed a tree from the path so that it would not cause difficulty to pedestrians. Allah Azza wa Jal became pleased with him and forgave him. Subhanallah. The stories of the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal are too many to be counted. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, when Allah Azza wa Jal showers His mercy on someone, He Azza wa Jal accepts even a minor deed and forgives him. A hadith mentions several different people who were blessed by Allah Azza wa Jal and were saved from torment due to certain deeds. Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Samura radiallahu ta'ala anhu has narrated that once the Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, came to us and said, "Last night I had a dream in which I saw that the angel of death alayhi salam came to seize a person's soul, but his obedience to his parents appeared in front of him and saved him. A man was being punished in his grave, but his virtue of performing wudu saved him. A man was surrounded by devils, but his act of making zikr of Allah Azza wa Jal saved him. A man was surrounded by the angels of retribution, but his salah saved him. A man's tongue was hanging due to thirst. He would approach a pond to drink water, but was not permitted to drink water. Then his fast arrived and quenched his thirst. A man was trying to get closer to the Prophets ﷺ, but was not permitted. His ghusl, that is the ritual bath, arrived and sat him beside me, that is next to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. A man was frightened due to being surrounded by intense darkness, but his Hajj and Umrah came and brought him out of darkness and took him to light. Fire was approaching the face and body of a man who was trying to protect himself by using his arms, but then his charity arrived and served as a shield for him. A man was surrounded by angels of retribution, but his virtue of calling people towards righteousness and preventing them from evil saved him and took him to the angels of mercy. A man was sitting on his knees, but there was a veil between him and Allah Azza wa Jal. Then his good character arrived and made him meet Allah Azza wa Jal. The book of the deeds of a man was about to be given in his left hand, but then his fear of Allah Azza wa Jal arrived and he was given his book of deeds in his right hand. The weight of a person's good deeds was less, but his generosity arrived, increasing the weight of his good deeds. A man was standing at the edge of hell, but his fear of Allah Azza wa Jal arrived and saved him. A man fell into hell, but the tears that he had shed out of the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal came and saved him. A man was standing on the bridge of Sirat and was shaking like a branch, but then his hope that Allah Azza wa Jal will have mercy arrived and saved him, and he passed the bridge successfully. A man was crawling across the bridge of Sirat, but then his recitation of Salat upon me stood him up and helped him pass it. The Prophet ﷺ further states, the lips of some people were being cut. I asked Jibreel alayhi salam, who are these people? He replied, they used to tell tales. Some people were hanging by their tongues. I asked Jibreel alayhi salam as to who they were. He replied, they used to falsely accuse others of committing sins. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, did you see? Allah Azza wa Jal blessed the people who are being punished and set them free by virtue of different deeds such as obedience to parents, wudu, salah, fasting, zikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, hajj, umrah, behaving with relatives nicely, calling towards righteousness and prevention from evil, charity, good character, generosity, crying due to the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, having hope in Allah Azza wa Jal, etc. Remember, all these matters depend upon the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. He forgives or punishes whoever He wants, and this is His justice. If He Azza wa Jal wants, He Azza wa Jal forgives by virtue of one little deed. But if He Azza wa Jal wants, He Azza wa Jal punishes for one little sin, and His punishment is very severe. You have heard that about the last two men mentioned in the foregoing hadith. The Holy Prophet ﷺ saw the retribution given to the people who tell tales and falsely accuse people of sins. Therefore, a wise person should not miss even an apparently minor looking good deed, because that good deed might lead to absolution, and he should try to avoid every little sin, no matter how minor it may seem, but that little sin might lead to punishment. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu has stated that once a person who was considered very pious passed away. After his burial, the angels of punishment entered his grave and said, we will hit you with 100 whips as punishment. Frightened, he asked, why will you punish me? Was I not a righteous person? They replied, we will hit you with 50 whips. But he continued to argue with them. At last, they decided to hit him only with one whip. So they hit him with one whip, which filled the entire grave with blazes of fire and burned him into ashes. When he was revived, he asked, shivering with pain, why was I hit with this whip? They answered, once you offered salah without wuzu, and once an oppressed man came to you for help, but you did not help him. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, did you see that even a righteous and a pious person was punished in his grave in case of the displeasure of Allah Azza wa Jal? May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy upon us and forgive us without accountability. Ameen. Bijahi Nabi Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sayyidina Haris rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi stated that there was a person who used to work with measuring grains. He left this job and occupied himself with worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. When he died, some of his close relatives saw him in a dream and asked, Ma fa'alallahu bika? That is, how did Allah Azza wa Jal treat you? He replied, due to my carelessness, dust had stuck onto the scale that I used for weighing grain. I did not clean it, because of which the amount of grain equal to the weight of the dust would reduce at the time of weighing. I am now being punished because of that. Similarly, another man who used to weigh food and sell without cleaning his scales was also punished in his grave after his death. And people even heard him screaming from inside his grave. Some pious people, rahimahullah ta'ala, pitied him and prayed for his forgiveness. And by the blessings of their prayers, he was relieved from his punishment. There is a lesson in these two narrations, especially for those Muslims who weigh things dishonestly. O Muslims, Although sometimes an apparent increase takes place in wealth due to weighing unjustly, no goodness lies in the wealth. At times, these unlawful earnings prove to be a nuisance in this world. This income may be lost in the form of huge medical fees, expensive medicines, robbery, bribery or theft, and above all, it may well bring about the punishment in the hereafter. Kar le tauba, Rab ki rahmat hai badi, qabr mein warna saza hogi kadi. It means that repent, as the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal is immense, or else punishment in the grave will be intense. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Tubu ila Allah, astaghfirullah. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, it is stated in Ruh al-Bayan, the one weighing unjustly will be thrown into the depths of hell on the day of judgment, and having been made to sit between two mountains of fire, will be commanded to weigh them. When he approaches the mountains, the fire will burn him. Ponder for a moment. The foregoing narrations contains the admonition of extremely severe punishment for weighing unjustly for the sake of few despicable coins in the short-lived life. Today, one cannot bear the heat of the world. How can one bear the scorching heat of the two mountains of hell? For the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, avoid greed for wealth, or else unlawful earnings will lead to ruin in the world as well as in the hereafter. Sayyidina Wahab bin Munabbih radiallahu ta'ala anhu has stated, there was a young man who repented for all his previous sins and spent 70 years worshipping consistently. He would fast during the day and worship at night. He was so pious that he would refrain from resting in any sort of shade and from eating delicious food. When he died, some of his close relatives saw him in a dream and asked, "Ma fa'ala Allahu bika?" He replied, Allah Azza wa Jal held me accountable and forgave all my sins. But unfortunately, I am still not allowed to enter heaven because of using a toothpick without its owner's permission. I had not apologized to its owner. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, tremble with fear. When the wrath of Allah Azza wa Jal intensifies, one can be punished even for such a sin that he considers very minor. As mentioned in the previous narration, that a righteous man was prevented from entering heaven simply because he used a splinter as a toothpick without its owner's permission and died without seeking forgiveness from the owner. Ponder for a moment. What is the worth of a splinter? These days, people defraud others of millions of dollars and feel no remorse at all. Tubu ila Allah, astaghfirullah. O Muslims, tremble with fear. The matter of fulfilling the rights of other people is very crucial. Violating someone's right, abusing them, frightening them, by staring at him aggressively, threatening them, hurting his feelings by telling him off, or in any other way, not paying his debt due to delaying the payment of the debt without any Shari'i exemption. These are all examples of depriving people of their rights. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, listen to this narration carefully. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam once asked his companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum, "Do you know who a destitute person is?" The companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum replied, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, the one who does not have wealth is a destitute." He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, "The destitute in my ummah is the one who will be brought on the day of judgment with salah, fasts and charity in his book of deeds, but would have abused and accused someone. He would have taken wealth unlawfully and shed blood or beaten someone, and as a result of these sins, his good deeds will be taken away from him. If he runs out of good deeds and there are still claims against him, he would have to take the sins of the oppressed people, and as a result, he would be thrown into hell. Tubu ilallah, astaghfirullah, sallu ala al-habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, remember, it is not only the murderers, robbers and gangsters that are oppressors. In fact, anyone who violates even a minor right of any person is an oppressor. For example, unlawfully taking even a single rupee of the other person, unlawfully scolding someone, staring aggressively at someone, teasing him, etc., are all acts of oppression. If the oppressed also violated the rights of the oppressor, both of them would be oppressors and the oppressed in this case. There will be many such people who will be the oppressed in one case and the oppressor in the other. Sayyidina Abdullah rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has stated that on the day of judgment, Allah Azza wa Jal will say, no one shall enter hell or heaven until he or she is held accountable for the rights of people. So if anyone has violated the rights of others, he will not enter hell or heaven until he compensates for it. We make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to protect Muslims from violating each other's rights, enable us to apologize and forgive each other for all previous mistakes in this matter. Ameen. Bijahin Nabi Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Dear viewers on Madani Channel, moving towards our topic, that is the respect of Ramadan. Let's listen to a few narrations that will make us realize what the respect of Ramadan should be, what the level of respect of Ramadan is. The fortunate Muslims who die in the blessed month of Ramadan not only remain safe from being questioned and punished in their graves, but also deserve heaven. The honorable scholars, rahimahullah ta'ala, have said, the Muslim who dies in this month will go straight into paradise as if the gate of hell is closed for him. Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu has narrated that the beloved and blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has stated, if anyone dies at the end of Ramadan, he will enter heaven. If anyone dies at the end of the day of Arafah, that is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, he will enter heaven too. And if anyone dies whilst donating in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal, he will also enter heaven. Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. The mother of the believers, Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa Tayyiba Tahira radiallahu ta'ala anha has narrated that the noble Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has said, if anyone dies in the state of fast, Allah Azza wa Jal will bless him with the reward of fasting until the day of judgment. Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. How fortunate the fasting person is. If he dies in the state of fast, he will be granted the reward of fasting till the day of judgment. Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu has said that he heard Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam say, Ramadan has come to you, the gates of heaven are opened and those of hell are closed, and the devils are held in captivity. The person who finds Ramadan but is not forgiven is a deprived one, because if he is not forgiven even in Ramadan, when will he be forgiven then? Allahu Akbar Kabira. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, in Ramadan, the gates of mercy and heaven are opened, those of hell are closed, and the devils are chained. Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu has narrated that the Prophet of Rahmah, the intercessor of Ummah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, would say to his companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'een, the month of Ramadan has arrived. It is a very blessed month. Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded you to fast in it. In this month, the gates of the skies are opened and those of hell are closed. Shaitans are kept in chains. In this month, there is a blessed night called Laylatul Qadr, which is greater than 1,000 months. The person who is deprived of its blessings is completely deprived. Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu was narrated that the Prophet of Rahmah, the intercessor of Ummah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam has stated, in Ramadan, the gates of the skies are opened. Another narration says that the gates of paradise are opened and those of hell are closed and the devils are kept in chains. Another narration says that the gates of mercy are opened. A renowned commentator of the Holy Quran, Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, has stated, in Ramadan the gates of the skies are opened through which special bounties of Allah Azza wa Jal descend upon the earth. The gates of the heaven are also opened by which the maidens of heaven become aware that Ramadan has arrived in the world, so that they pray for the people of the world. Further, it is also said that no one is punished in his grave in Ramadan. It implies that the gates of hell are closed in Ramadan, due to which the heat of hell does not reach the grave of the sinners and even unbelievers. Shaitan, along with his offspring, is chained. If anyone commits sins in this month, he does so due to the evil of his nafs, not because of shaitan. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, we are listening about the respect of Ramadan. Now let's listen to an incident of a person who honored Ramadan, and let's listen to the reward he got for honoring Ramadan. There was a fire worshipper who lived in Bukhara. One day he was walking through a Muslim marketplace along with his son. His son began to eat something publicly. Seeing his son eating, he slapped him and scolded him, saying, "Aren't you ashamed of eating in front of Muslims in the Muslims' market in Ramadan?" His son replied, "Father, you also eat in Ramadan, don't you?" The father replied, "I don't eat in front of the Muslims. I eat at home where they can't see me." After some time, the fire worshipper died. Someone had a dream in which he saw the deceased person in heaven. Amazed, the dreaming person asked, "You were a fire worshipper. How did you get into heaven?" He replied, "You are right. I was a fire worshipper, but at the time of death, Allah Azza wa Jal blessed me with faith for honoring Ramadan and granted me heaven after death." Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, did you see? Allah Azza wa Jal not only blessed a fire worshipper with faith for honoring Ramadan, but also granted him with eternal blessings of heaven. All those heedless brothers who don't honor Ramadan at all, despite being Muslims, should earn a lesson from this parable. They do not fast, dare to smoke cigarettes, etc. in front of fasting Muslims, and some are so shameless that they even eat and drink publicly. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, in today's episode, we heard about the importance of even small deeds. We heard about the importance and the respect of the month of Ramadan, and we also heard a parable at the end of a fire worshipper who honored the month of Ramadan, and he was blessed with faith, and Allah Azza wa Jal granted him entrance into heaven and granted him the eternal blessings of heaven. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, in order to get rid of a sinful life, join the Madani environment of Dawat-e-Islami, a global and non-political movement for the propagation of Quran and Sunnah. Insha'Allah Azza wa Jal, you will succeed in this worldly life as well as in the afterlife. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us the ability to keep all fasts during the month of Ramadan. May Allah Azza wa Jal forgive us without accountability. Ameen. Bijahin Nabi Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
Ramadan is the month of blessings and forgiveness. Ramadan is the month of blessings and forgiveness. Ramadan.